what happens if you take Reno 911 and cross it with John Wick? You pretty much get Copshop. Hey everyone, this is David Stark from Watch or Pass, and I just got done seeing an early screening of Copshop, and it is a very, very good film. It is a lot of fun. It's got mystery, it's got tension, it's got humor, it's got action. It's a pretty interesting movie, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. Tell you three things I liked, one thing I didn't love as much, and then talk about the ending. So, as you can imagine, there will be spoilers in this. So, if you don't want to know anything about the film, you don't want to know any of the mystery, and this film has a decent amount of mystery, some twists that happen. So I might actually recommend not watching this until you've actually seen the film. But if you just want to know more about the film, you want to know some of the, want to know why Frank Grillo is in prison, you want to know why Gerard Butler is in there as well, then keep watching and I'll let you know more. Copshop is an interesting film. It feels like kind of a throwback movie because it has this wonderful style, this I don't know, kind of old Western type movie style, but then it also has this wonderful kind of jazz rock soundtrack. It feels like a movie from a different time, and I think that's what they were going for. But it also has this really fantastic cast, kind of a lot of my favorite actors. Actually, you've got Gerard Butler, you've got Frank Grillo, you've got my favorite Carney from Carnival, Toby Huss. You also have a really wonderful performance by Alexis Louder, who is this kind of strong, kind of very skilled and also very kind of morally righteous cop who is kind of trying to corral all these ridiculous and dangerous people throughout this strange night. And so in the film, Alexis Louder plays Valerie Young. She's a cop in this small precinct in Nevada that it's kind of a quiet station until this night, until this kind of insanity happens. And what you have is you have Frank Grillo, who gets himself arrested and seemingly willingly gets himself arrested. I mean, he actively punches Val, played by Alexis Louder, and gets sent to prison. And you don't find out why until later. But you also have this strange, imposing, drunk character played by Gerard Butler, who also gets himself sent to prison. So you have these two very dangerous, very different people who are now in prison together. And this leads to this crazy, tense, and also sometimes funny night that plays out and kind of affects everyone in this small precinct. The precinct itself has a lot of very different and strong personalities. So the first thing I really loved about this film is the style. It's got this really interesting kind of throwback style, especially at the start. You can see it initially from the poster. The poster has this kind of like comic book look to it, maybe like a old penny novel, like a graphic novel style, or like an old kind of action detective novel kind of style. And the film also starts off with maybe like a Wild West type look. I mean, it has it has some color grain to the film. It's got a lot of like desert shots because it's set in Nevada, so of course it has desert shots. And the film feels a little overexposed. I mean, I might be getting the terms wrong, but the film has a very definite kind of throwback style to it at the start. And it also comes in with this music, with this logo. The Copshop logo is very kind of bold and uses very primary colors. It feels like something you would see in like a 70s or 80s style action Western movie. And then also you have this music that starts the film off. It's this kind of like I'm not going to get the era right, but maybe like 60s jazz and rock music that really kind of ties it all together. It lets you know that this film is going to have some action and a little bit of comedy as well, and that kind of filters in through the entire film. Like the film has a definite fun action mystery comedy blend style that is really entertaining. It's a really interesting kind of mix, and it's not something I really expected, but it really keeps your attention, and it keeps you it keeps the film enjoyable. It keeps the pace moving, but the comedy also really just kind of ties it all together. It makes it so that you're, even in the most tense situations, like someone will say something ridiculous or have like a serious statement that kind of can be taken in a funny way, and it keeps some levity in a very, very tense situation. The second thing I loved, I mentioned already, is the comedy. I mean, at the start of the film, it's got this kind of more dry action comedy. You've got people, these machismo kind of personalities, and they're saying, some stuff, and maybe kind of ribbing each other at the cop station, and some of the situations that they find themselves in are pretty ridiculous, and so you've got that humor there. But then when Toby Huss comes in, he plays kind of a crazy, everyone's crazy in this film, but he plays a crazy assassin, and he says a lot of just ridiculous funny things as well. Like, his character really kind of gets the ball moving in terms of the comedy of this movie, because he is just a treat. I mean, he's insane, he is violent, but he also just says kind of some of the most ridiculous funny things in the film, and when he's on, like, there are definite laugh out loud moments as he's trying to kill everyone. So the comedy does kind of keep this movie moving, and keeps it enjoyable, although the film itself is very enjoyable. And the last thing I really loved is the mystery. I mean, the film does not reveal much at the start. You're left with these strange characters who all end up in this jail for various reasons, and you don't know why. Like, you're wondering. You kind of get some hints throughout. You kind of realize that they both wanted to be in the prison, but you don't know why until a little bit later, and as more and more is revealed. And by the end, you get a good sense of why everyone was there. But the film really kind of keeps everything under wraps at the start, and it's not just these mysterious criminals. Like, some of the cops have some secrets. Some of the other, some of the characters have some backstory that's not revealed until later. So the film itself has this kind of air of mystery, and it keeps the audience guessing with what's going to happen, and who can you trust, who can you not trust. That's a big question at the start of the film, and kind of it goes throughout as well. And the last thing I really love, I said three, but I'll say four, is the action. I mean, this film, like I said, it's kind of like Rio 911 meets John Wick, and the action itself is very good. It's very over the top. You've got this, like Toby Huss will pull out this submachine gun that has like a taped on extended clip, so you can just shoot bullets forever, pretty much. The last sequence, you've got some very over the top action. I mean, the film is not a lot of action, but when it happens, especially in the precinct, it is entertaining. And then that action is also kind of tempered sometimes with some very tense standoff kind of moments. There's a scene that takes place in a bathroom, and one of the assassins turns on the showers to kind of have the steam coming in to let you kind of not really see much. And it's a bathroom, and it's a very large bathroom. I mean, this police precinct has like a spa type bathroom. And so when people are saying stuff, it's kind of echoing, so you can't really tell where it's coming from. And all of this leads to some very tense scenes, but also it leads to some really good action, because you're kind of wondering what's going to happen next. When is the person going to get the drop? And when they do get the drop, sometimes you don't know, like, is someone else going to come in at the last minute? So the action itself in this film is very entertaining. It can be very exciting, and also it can be very tense. And so this film has a really wonderful blend of mystery, comedy, action, and tension all merged together, and it kind of it's no one of those elements is dominant. They all kind of come out in various points in the film, and it leads to something that keeps your attention, even though the film it's relatively long. It's about an hour and 7 minutes, so not crazy long, but it is a long film for this one ridiculous night. But you're always kind of enjoying it and always want to see what happens next. Something I didn't like, this is all minor, this is a very minor thing, but Frank Grillo's character has this character turn partway through, and I'll get to that in the ending. I didn't love it. I kind of liked his character up until that point, but it does lead to more of the mystery. It leads to an exciting end sequence, and it leads to one character also getting some redemption as well. So I didn't love Frank Grillo's turn, because I liked his character up until that point, but it kind of fit with the story. It kept you guessing, and so I'm not going to fault it that much. It did kind of fuel the story forward. So the ending, and again, like I said, there's a lot of mystery in this film, so if you don't want to know about the ending, this might not be a bad time to turn it off. I kind of I tried to keep most of the major spoilers under wraps until now, so if you don't want to know about the ending, I would turn it off. If you do want to know about the ending, then we can keep talking. So what happens is you've got Frank Grillo's character, who's Teddy Murretto. He's in the holding cell of this precinct. It's kind of in the basement. And you also have Gerard Butler's character, Bob Viddick, also in the holding cell. They're in separate holding cells. So Bob Viddick is in the drunk tank, and Teddy Murretto is in the other cell. And at this point, Val, who is kind of the main moral compass of this precinct, and also she's a badass cop. She's in there as well, but she's injured. She got shot in a confrontation with Toby Huss's character, Anthony Lamb. And so they're all stuck in this kind of holding cell as Anthony Lamb and one of the cops who turns on everyone, Huber, are kind of murdering everyone. Huber only kills a couple people. He kills the Sarge when everyone thing goes down, and a witness as well. But Anthony Lamb is just kind of systematically murdering everyone in his like crazy homicidal maniac way. I mean, he is enjoying it's interesting because he's very funny and enjoying the whole situation, but he's also murdering everyone. So he's a very interesting character. He might be my favorite character in the entire film because he's, you know, I like Toby Huss already, and I liked his kind of weird psychopathic character. But in any event, so Val is injured, and so we do find out why Teddy Murretto is there. So Teddy Murretto, to try to convince Val to trust him, tells her his backstory. And basically, he was a fixer, so he would kind of make big deal, you know, make meetings happen between high-ranking, powerful individuals, and he would kind of pull the strings there to try to get these meetings to happen so that things could get done. He was kind of a power broker, I guess. And at one point, he was trying to bribe or, you know, get on the payroll the Attorney General of Nevada, and that person, you know, didn't turn. He didn't want to be part of this situation, so he refused all the bribes. But apparently, he also recorded the bribes, and so Teddy didn't know this. Teddy didn't know that he was recording all the communications. And when that Attorney General was murdered, that was a big part of this film. Is like they kept referencing the Attorney General being murdered. When I guess the FBI came in, all those bribes were recorded, and so they found out that Teddy was doing, you know, playing this role, being a fixer. They had him start wearing a wire and become an FBI informant, and that apparently angered the people that he was being a fixer for. As you can imagine, they did not like this, and so they eventually sent Bob Viddick to take him out, and that's why Teddy wanted to be in prison, because he wanted to be. Yeah, he knew that Bob was on his tail, and he wanted to stop him. But they also sent Anthony Lamb, Toby Huss's character, I guess as insurance. He took out, I guess, his insurance, I guess, to kind of make sure that the job got done. And so back to the prison, Val is down there with both Teddy Murretto, I'm going to call him Teddy, and Bob Viddick, I'm going to call him Viddick. And so she's bleeding out, and she has to pick who she's going to trust. And so she trusts Teddy. She lets him go. She gives him her gun, and she says, "There's a trauma kit, I think, up in the kitchen. I need you to get it. Like, I am bleeding out. Like, if you don't do this, I'm dead." But as you can imagine, Viddick wants to be the one to be trusted. He wants to get out of there. So he is kind of questioning Val, trying to question Teddy as well. And so eventually, before Teddy leaves, Viddick tells Teddy, "Hey, Teddy, why don't you ask Val what happened to your family?" Because what we've been hearing about is that Teddy's family, he has, I guess, an ex-wife and a kid that is kind of in danger. He plays like he doesn't care about them, but it's clear that he does. And so earlier, we found out that Val found out that they had been murdered the day before. And so, but she didn't tell Teddy. I think she wanted to keep him, either get him to work with her, or, you know, try to not have him know this, you know, try to keep him positive for whatever reason. So she didn't tell him earlier. And so now Teddy confronts her, and she said, you know, she tells him that his family was found murdered, I think the day before. And so then this interesting scene happens where Teddy kind of confronts Viddick and is like, "Did you do it?" You know, he basically has a gun, you know, in his hand, and Viddick is like, "No." And they kind of brainstorm in like a professional way and figure out that it was probably Anthony Lamb, who's Toby Huss, who murdered his family. And then, you know, Teddy leaves, and we find that, you know, we then fast forward, you know, we shift to the assassin Anthony Lamb and the cop who turned Huber, both trying to break into the cell. Like, they were trying to break into the cell to finish this job and just kind of get rid of all the evidence and get rid of all the witnesses. And so the way they are doing this is they are sledgehammering through a wall in the bathroom that is next to the holding cell. And it's like a foot of concrete, so the progress is very slow. It's very loud. And so you then see Teddy pop in and try to shoot them. Apparently he's a bad shot because he doesn't hit either of them. But this leads to this very tense scene in the bathroom where you've got you've got steam from a shower that's turned on to kind of obscure the view, and you've got this long, kind of spa-like almost bathroom where sounds are kind of echoing. You don't really know where something is coming from, and so this leads to a very tense, well done action scene. And Teddy kind of pursues them throughout this. Now you also find out, you also switch back to Viddick trying to convince Val to trust him. I mean, he's basically saying like, look, who do you want? If the shit hits the fan, essentially, who do you want? Do you want the turncoat, or do you want like the professional assassin in your corner? You don't really know what's going to happen, but he's trying to convince her, and Val is clearly fading out. Like she's getting worse and worse. So we go back, and Huber is hiding in the bathroom, like as Teddy's moving around. It looks like he's about to kind of get the drop on Teddy, and then lo and behold, you've got Viddick come in and just takes him out. So apparently Val trusted Viddick, or at least something happened that let Viddick escape. And so he takes out Huber, and then he also eventually takes out Anthony Lamb, the Toby Huss character, the crazy assassin. He takes him out. He basically incapacitates him, and then as he's about to finish the job, Teddy pops in with a gun. And so Viddick basically says, like, look, like they're kind of in a standoff. They're both pointing their guns at each other. And Viddick is like, look, parlay, like we are going, I'm going to stop this and you can take out the man, take out your family. Seems like a reasonable offer. But Teddy kind of double crosses him. He shoots at Viddick and then comes in and finishes off Anthony Lamb. He then double crosses Val, who let him go. And this is where I didn't love his character, by like trying to set the prison on fire. He empties 2 gas cans in the prison area and then shoots them to set it on fire, and then kind of goes up. And so we see him next in the kitchen having a snack as the building starts to burn. But you see behind him Val. Now she's in a bulletproof vest and she has a gun, and she basically calls Teddy out. It turns out that she escaped earlier. I don't know, the timeline doesn't really work out well, but it makes for a very exciting ending. But she apparently escaped, patched herself up, put on a bulletproof vest, and gave herself a shot of adrenaline. So now she feels a lot better. So she confronts him, and she looks like, I think she's about to maybe take him out, although she's still trying to not kill anyone. And Teddy distracts her by like shooting a gas can. There's a lot of gas cans around in this police precinct. I assume Teddy was trying to get ready to burn the police precinct down, but there's a lot of gas cans. It's kind of like a video game. And so he shoots a gas can, distracts her, and he tries to escape. And this leads to a very exciting gunfight, probably the best gunfight in this film, because you've got both of them just kind of going all out. Like Val is shooting at Teddy. Teddy eventually gets into a weapons room and gets like an M16. So they have a really great firefight. But also what happens is during this firefight, Val is able to continue fighting because she finds weapons from her various fallen cop co-workers. And so these are all guns that were referenced earlier. So it's kind of a nice way to tie it all together when you see like she finds the gun that was going to be a gift to someone, and she uses that. And then she finds this one person's gun who was really proud of, and she uses that. And these are able to, these allow her to eventually incapacitate Teddy. Like she shoots him a couple times, and she finally shoots him with this big gun that one of her coworkers had. And she's about to finish it off. She like comes up over him, and he's injured. And then boom, Val is on the ground. And you're like, what happened? You see one of the earlier dirty cops that Val was talking to before, giving her information. She is here with a shotgun, and she has shot Val. Now Val is not dead. She's heavily injured because she had that bulletproof vest on. So she has the wind knocked out of her, maybe has a broken rib or two, but she's not dead. But that cop, comes over and says essentially like, I'm sorry, Val, like is about ready to finish the job. And then boom, 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 you've got our hero, Mr. Viddick again. It's interesting that Gerard Butler is the hero here, because his character is a ruthless assassin. Like he essentially killed a man to distract people to try to get at Teddy. So I do kind of like that his character becomes like the redeeming hero, anti-hero hero in this part. But he takes out this dirty cop who's about to kill Val. And then he takes out Teddy in very violent fashion. He's like shoots him like 4 times with a shotgun. And so he helps Val up, and you notice that that Viddick is carrying this like big duffel bag, and you don't really know what's in it. I thought initially it was like drugs from the evidence locker because there had been drugs referenced earlier, and maybe it still is, but you also find out later what's in it. So Val kind of looks at the bag and says, "What's in the bag, Viddick?" And he said, "Just this time, let it go." Because she is like the straight and narrow cop. Like she always does things by the book. She's very competent, but she also doesn't really bend the rules. And so he's trying to convince her to just let it go. And she appears to, and he leaves. And then you see him kind of pull out of the cop precinct in a stolen cop car with this massive duffel bag and this light blue bag that Teddy was holding way earlier in the film. And so he leaves, and the ambulances come as he's leaving. And then you see him later driving kind of in the Nevada desert, and he calls someone who was referenced earlier who said they had a bounty for Lamb's head. Anthony Lamb was the crazy psycho killer. And so he says, essentially calls him and says, like, I've got a delivery for you, implying that the head is in that bag. So the bag has the head. It might also have drugs. I don't know, but it definitely has Anthony Lamb's head. And you also see Val in the ambulance getting taken care of, and you hear like an APB over the radio talking about this, white male in a stolen cop car, armed. And I think they say he's heading south, which I didn't really think made sense because I thought he was going to Chicago, and they're in Nevada. But they say he's heading south, and Val basically said, tells all the ambulance people to get out, stop the car, and you see them later out of the ambulance as she's driving the ambulance pursuing Viddick. So I thought it was a little weird. I mean, I thought that was a little weird of an ending because he did help her, and I don't understand why she would be pursuing him. Maybe she wants to see if she can catch him before he leaves Nevada. But in any event, it fits her character, and it does allow for this really fun throwback scene where you see both of them turning on the radios, and the same kind of 60s jazz rock music comes on again, and they're both listening to it, and they're both kind of driving in this pursuit. And then that's the end. Val is pursuing Viddick. Viddick is going to Chicago to claim a bounty, and that's the end of this film. And it's a really fun film. And so there are no stingers. There's nothing during the credits except for some good music. So you don't have to stay past the ending. But it was a really wonderful movie. I loved seeing it. This screening had like an intro from Gerard Butler, just like a little video, thanking everyone for coming. So it was, and Gerard Butler specifically mentioned that he had a lot of fun making it. And I think that's probably, I think it seems like everyone in this movie had a lot of fun. This seems like a movie that had a lot of heart that went into it. And it also has just a really enjoyable experience. Like the mystery, the tension, the action, the comedy, they all kind of mixed together into this really fun, not really unique, but just entertaining movie. So that's Copshop. It's coming to theaters September 17th, 2021. I really enjoyed it. I didn't really know what to expect going in, and I was pleasantly surprised. And so you can be too on September 17th, 2021. So thanks so much for watching. If you liked this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. And if you have any other thoughts about Copshop, you want to know anything else about the film, or if I got something wrong, drop it in the comments. I love, reading about that after. I love hearing theories and seeing things I missed. So, feel free to drop anything in the comments, and thanks so much for watching.